Well, salutations, good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening, wherever you may find yourselves orientated within the universe. We are Ultrasonic Blur. We hope that you find yourselves well, and if not, we hope whatever is ailing you is easily fixable, and if not, well, we hope that we can help at least alleviate some of that. And today, we have a very special and different kind of broadcast. So, a while ago, some of you may remember, if we pop on over here, there we are. You may remember when we were playing Stray, was it? We had this, oh goodness, yes, sort that. We had that talk of a tabletop role-playing game, also known as Dungeons and Dragons most commonly. Well, thanks to some good work with a good friend, Mr. Castleford, we now have the opportunity to try this out for ourselves. So hopefully this is going to be well, it's going to be an experience of some sort. So hopefully that'll go okay. We we have absolutely no idea exactly what it is that is going to be happening. But yeah, it hopefully shouldn't be too much of a problem. All we know is this will involve some specific three-dimensional shapes with various faces on them, known as dice, and it is used as a random number generator. So that should be quite fun. As Lucas has already demonstrated once before, if you do ! Character, this will go ahead and show you the character that we have spontaneously generated. This is Swiftwisp Short Shadow, and well, we thought that they weren't too bad for us to look at. They are a stout halfling, as it were. We're not 100% sure what most of any of that means, but that's what they are, and hopefully that'll all be all good and things. So we're going to go ahead and try and open up some communications broadcast. We've sort of tested this. Last time it tested, something almost exploded. Hopefully this time nothing will explode, but that is the plan. So hopefully broadcast signals are open. Are you receiving, Mr. Asselford? Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, fantastic. Signs appear to be stabilizing as such. We suppose the last thing we need to do is just properly set the audio for this, and we have scoured some options for this, and this should hopefully be a fitting sound for things. Lastly, we have but to do this, and like so. As you can see, welcome to, well, what exactly is it we're doing right now, Dungeon Master Castleford?
So sorry, I've got a bit of a nosebleed going on.
Oh, goodness. Oh.
Yep, well, I hope you're not.
Is that normal for your species?
More or less, yes.
Oh, okay, that's,
It is
well,
for me, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Duly noted.
So, as you can see, this is the inside of the tavern. I'm gonna explain where this place is and how you got here and why shortly. Just as soon as my nose calms down a little bit. But as you can see, this is a lovely green and naturey place to be. Not the first place you think of when you think of a bar. But there's a reason why I picked this place. And that is based on the character that you'll meet. The character who has hired you.
Ah, fantastic, yes. So yes, for those watching and things, Swiftwisp Short Shadow, a name that we regret picking for already, as it is quite the difficulty to pronounce. But they have been considered for a long period of their life as a what you would call a private investigator of some instances. Most of the time, this has involved being tasked with following someone, finding out something about some information through whatever means they have been needing to, hence why they have been quite the dexterous one, and they've taken to being their size and sort of used that to their advantage. They've tried to stick within the means of the law, where possible, because, well, it doesn't exactly do too good if your private investigator is suddenly in jail. Don't exactly get paid very often for that. So yes, that is Swiftwisp, and as was mentioned, we apparently have been called here and hired. So that's why we find ourselves here. Other than that, we ain't got...
I apologize, I wasn't expecting my nose to suddenly explode.
Oh, if there is one thing we have understood from this universe, it is that causality is very similar to coincidence, unfortunately. But such is the nature of things. If you do need a moment or two, we can happily talk a little more about Swiftwisp if needed.
Go ahead. I'd love to hear more.
Well, that's unfortunate. We weren't actually planning that far ahead, but in terms of, like we said, they found that most of the time their private investigations were simple, menial things. I think my partner is cheating on me, so could you go and find out if they are? Turns out most of the time people were just planning something as a surprise for a venue, or just having a get-together with some friends that they hadn't seen in a long time, but occasionally there has been the odd scuffle or misdemeanor with some ruffians, as it were. Swiftwisp has several weapons at their disposal, though not liking to draw them most of the time. They have two smaller daggers, mainly used for either distraction or disarming, as it were, rather than actually engaging in physical combat. However, a rapier is also by their side, should things turn to that in such a regard, but never wanting to leave someone dead. It's more a case of, we'll fight them off or run if needed. They are also as well with a short bow and such things. Never really taken too much to archery, but again, more useful for the ideas as distraction or potentially loosing an arrow far enough to send rope flying for them to be able to climb with. Unfortunately, the years haven't been particularly kind. They're a little older, and as they mentioned, a lot of their investigations were very sort of menial, common things. I think someone's having an affair. The most difficult one that ever happened was a 2-day trek of following around a teenager after their parents thought they'd gotten in with the wrong crowd. They had gotten in with the wrong crowd, but trying to convince them of that wasn't exactly an easy task, so it took a little bit of time, but thankfully they got them back and convinced them. They've never quite told anyone how they convinced them, but they did. They had done so. And as we said, they've been doing this for, we'd say they were about 37, 38-ish in years. They'd been in the private eye life for about a good decade, 2 decades coming up to at this point. So they are familiar with this, but always feeling like, maybe it could be a little more exciting.
Okay, I think my nose is finally recovered.
Wonderful. That is very good to hear.
Okay, so I imagine that you're the type of private investigator that has their, contact at, a local newspaper or a Yellow Pages or equivalent. How would someone go about hiring you exactly?
It's mostly it is very much an open source thing, as you said. Tavern message boards. Oh, someone's got a contact that they go around with every so often. There is, of course, always as well the option of letter, which is commonly used as well to be able to get in contact with. It is rare, though, that we get to meet someone before being hired in this regard, especially at a place like this.
Indeed. The person who has hired you is more or less using this moment to figure out exactly if you're the type of person that he would like to hire for what he needs. He just vaguely told you to go to the Treetop Tavern, and that was about it. And that is where you find yourself. And you admittedly had a hard time actually getting into this place, because when you're down at the bottom floor, the lifts to get up to the trees where the tavern is are very well hidden, and the only thing that clued you in to where you were the stables nearby with all the horses and ponies and other mounts that cannot climb or fly, because you did notice as you were going up on the lift that there was quite a few flying creatures going into another part of the building. Yes.
Before we get too far in, we do have one small request for a fact here at number 44. If all the salt in the oceans were spread evenly over the land, it would be 500 feet deep. So a lot of salt apparently on this planet of yours. Quite where it's all generated from, we're not sure, though we have heard of a lot of people being considered salty. Maybe that has something to do with it. But yes, I suppose as well we should get into character, as it were. Let's try and do this short, older. Yes. Well, there, Swift with Short Shadow. Thank you, finally. Right, where's my contact then? There we are. That'll do for our Swift Wisp. There we are. Lovely to well.
You good?
Different spot. Indeed, yes. Ready when you are.
So, as you walk off the lift and into the tavern itself, you immediately notice that it is a very green and lovely place. You see all sorts of peoples of the elvish, orcish, human, gnome, all kinds of races of peoples are hanging out here, having a very nice time. And you also notice that there are a number of other creatures as well. There seems to be some bumblebees and squirrels helping the staff behind the bar, as well as helping carry objects between kitchens and the tavern itself. So it seems like this is a place that is very well ingrained with the nature and the surroundings around it.
Well,
all the seats and chairs seem to look like they've grown from the tree itself. So some of the spacing is a little awkward. There's a couple tables that are all the way in the back and some that are very close together, and they're all the natural woods of the tree itself.
Well, this makes a certain change from most of the bars we end up in. Alright, what did he say his name was again?
Before you're actually able to find your contact, a person, noticing that he's never seen you before, decides to walk up to you and greet you. He is a very smartly dressed elf, and he introduces himself as Atlan Oakenlaw. And he says, he welcomes you to the tavern and hopes that you have a pleasant stay. But he also points out a few explicit rules before you come inside.
Alright, shoot.
You are not to harm any of the natural, any part of nature that is part of this tavern. You are not allowed to harm, bar none. So that includes the animals, the plants, and of course the people who work here.
Alright, what else you got for me?
Guests are welcome to all of the common areas, this area that you see here, and If you are scheduled to stay in the rooms here, you are welcome to your particular room. However, there are very private areas that I ask you not to go to. The apiary or the workshop, unless the folks who work in those places explicitly say that you can go there. The hanging pond is only open from the initial cockscrow to nightfall for safety reasons. Do not go there. But, big thing I want to point out to you before we move forward, and he points to a gold chestnut size of an apple and says, "This is the precious treasure of Treetop Tavern, the heart of the forest. It's been passed down for generations and is very dear to me. As you can see, it is made of solid gold and kept in pristine condition. It is very important that you not touch it." And he puts a very exaggerated finger waggle to that.
Oh, no worries. I'll keep my hands to myself. You ain't got no worries here. Alright then. Don't suppose you've heard anyone asking about for someone of my demeanour at all? Got a message to meet someone here, but can't necessarily see someone who'd be requiring my services, as it were.
Val's doing. Okay, and he gestures to the bar, and you notice a very interesting sight, a sight that you've probably not seen in your life before. A wood elf who's completely fucking smashed. Now, it's barely past 5 p.m.
Yes,
this wood elf has been pre-gaming, as you would say. He's been drinking for a good chunk of time.
Yes, we've heard of this pre-gaming, this idea of drinking before drinking so that you can drink when you've been drinking. We're not quite sure how that works, but it certainly makes sense. Oh boy, then. Well, guess I better go introduce myself.
So you see this wood elf at the bar, and he's got, like, unusually he has short hair. You can tell he's an elf by his ears, but his hair is kept very short, and it's a curly red color. His skin is a slight shade of green. You're hoping that's just because of his wood elf heritage and not that he's drunken himself sick. He's hanging out in, like, just general, like, commoner's garb with just a cloak, and he's got it over his head, maybe out of some amount of embarrassment from how much he's been drinking, but you hear, like, just the small giggling as he's just at the bar talking to the barmaid, Scylla.
Well then, sort of, Swiftwift gives this sort of, okay, let's do this, then sort of adjusts themselves and begins to make their way over towards them, trying to sort of mutter themselves, hoping this isn't just a waste of time and this drunkard is actually going to prove worth having spent all the time getting here, as they sort of walk up towards them and sort of, I believe you are looking for someone with my expertise then? Hoping that they'll register that we're down here, sort of, at the bar stool beside them.
This old elf is kind of swaying a little bit, and he's
oh boy.
he's doing his damnedest to look at you normally, and he's having a bit of a struggle. He's like, right? Right?
That's, yes, Swift Wisp Short Shadow, or
oh my god, that's awesome. So he literally just flops an arm over you in drunkenness and pulls you in. He's like, okay. Alright,
okay,
so.
yes, okay, hi, with a sort of awkwardly try and sort of steady themselves against them, / lean into this weird hug that they've now been pulled into.
Like, alright, man. So, I'm helping Syl out here pick out some new drinks. Might have gotten a bit carried away. but this is exactly why I want you here.
Oh,
I want to make
boy.
sure that there's somebody around that doesn't try to fuck with me. Now, I don't expect anything to happen here, per se, but depending on how things go here, whether you're okay with me like this or not, I was wondering if you could help me get to a completely different place, ideally without somebody trying to kill me while I'm trying to enjoy myself. That's like the basic idea.
Okay, this
So he
point,
lets go of
Swiftwish.
you and just steady himself on the bar.
So Swiftwish sort of does a double take at this point, sort of looking over at them, sort of catching a whiff of their breath, and sort of, yes, I could certainly smell you've been here a while. But let me get this straight. You've hired a private detective, someone who's best at hiding in the shadows, stalking, watching out for others' misdeeds and misconducts, and you thought that this person, who'd barely unsheath a sword if possible, is the best person to babysit you getting to some other location.
Now, look, I'm not asking you to fight. That's not why I'm here. I am very much capable of fighting. It's more a case of somebody doing some sort of, like, subterfuge type shit. Like, it's more, I don't expect the persons who don't like me to front out attack me. Like, I expect them to do some weird shit. I don't know who they are, but I've had, like, 3 threats all my life in the past. Fucking days. I don't remember.
Well, one would imagine that you'd be a little more careful with so many threats on your life, but, well, can't say I don't blame you for wanting to enjoy a drink or two. So, I guess before we do sign up on any adventurers, as it were, with you, we got a couple things we gotta know. First of all, how long are you gonna be planning to go out? Second, where exactly are we taking you? It wasn't exactly easy getting here. Don't exactly figure it'd be particularly far you'd be wanting to go. And lastly, what are we looking at for payment? Because obviously, that will depend on a lot of things to how much service we can provide. So, again,
thought the payment part through quite yet. I'm definitely able to pay you for stuff, but admittedly, how far I want to go is pretty far. Admittedly, what this? Oh, okay. Here, come here. So
well, it's gonna. Well,
whisper. Okay, so basically, I'm trying to get to my my fiance. They're pretty far away, and so I figure it's like, oh, let's do bachelor party shit while I'm on my way to go to them, because it's a distance, and I know a whole bunch of cool places because my buddies gave me this really bitchin' list, and they said, hey, if you're gonna have a bachelor party, you should go to these spots. But they didn't want to go the entire way for various reasons. Mostly because it is a distance, I'll admit.
No, I'll say. As he sort of tries to glance over at this list, trying to keep their eye on it as they sort of shakily move this back and forth between them, trying to catch a thing. Would we know any of the names on the list that have been given at all?
You might recognize maybe a name. Like, you might recognize the railway.
Well, this is certainly an extensive list you've been given there, mate. Gotta say, some friends you got, though, taking you all the way. Are they gonna be meeting up with you at all anywhere along the way, or are you just solo flying this bachelor party of yours?
Oh, Lord, admittedly, like, I haven't thought that part through yet. I just kind of randomly decided to do this because it's been a hot minute since I last even saw my beloved, and I just want to see them and just be with them forever if I can.
Well,
short of
it'll
it.
cost you. And depending on what happens, it may cost you a little bit extra, but it wouldn't be right to leave you to just get, well, who knows what could happen here. Let's have a look at this list then a little bit more. As he sort of pats him on the back, sort of tries to shove him against him as much as possible as he takes a look over at the list and scans down it, while sort of muttering to themselves about hoping this is going to be worth it.
Yes, so the list is a very extensive and exotic list. You do recognize the railway because it is a very much a transcontinental railroad. It's hard not to hear of the railway. But then you see other names like Ring of Peace and Teapot Temple and the Drunken Treasure. All sorts of weird, interesting names that you've probably never heard of before.
Aye. Well, I hope you know where you're going for all of these. I can just about recognize one of these. Don't ask me for directions. You'll be the one leading the way on this.
Yes, I'm totally fine with that. I can definitely do that.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
So, assuming this was your starting point, where on the list are we heading first? Or next, I should say.
Excuse me. Okay, he's trying to look at the list. His eyes are crossed to shit. He's like, fuck. Okay, I might need to stop drinking for a bit so that way I can read this correctly.
That sounds like
the
a
reason
good
we're
idea.
here is because it's literally like an hour away from where I live. Like, I've been coming here for a while already. I figure if there's no place to start my little journey quest to see my darling, then by all means it's gonna be here where I've been with the people and seen them and said hi to them for quite some time.
Aye. Well, that
It's like
works,
at this point that a beautiful wood elf with long green hair approaches again, and this is Scylla the barmaid, and she says, "Yeah, no kidding, you should stop drinking. I'm cutting you off." And Val's like, "Oh, but come on, I was doing a good job. Help me with your drinks." And she's like, "Yes, for the first like 5, and then you're like this now." It's like,
How many deep is he, by the way, then?
But what?
How deep is he? Or how many deep is he? How many drinks is he?
She just shakes her head. It's like, I make very, very, very particular cocktails. A lot of our patronage are elves or wood elves. If I want to get somebody drunk, I can get them drunk. This fool managed to do that in 8 drinks.
Some people can't hold their drink, can they?
Well, I mean, if they're mine, they certainly won't. Not that many.
Aye. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on him, make sure he don't go doing something stupid.
Val's like awkwardly on the edge of the bar trying to grab one of the menus. And just slides it over to you. It's like, here. If you want some food and stuff, I can pay for you. This is what I've been drinking, and he points to the Scylla special.
Well,
but it's like custom ones that she's been experimenting with, and I've just been giving her a hand figuring out like what stuff works and what stuff doesn't. And it's like, you should definitely try the meat. It's good.
Well, we would not normally consider drinking on the job, but we did come all the way out here, and you obviously have a lot of expertise on the drinks around here, and it would be rude of us not to accept the hospitality of a guest, so we will take you up on that offer. We will take your recommendation for this one.
Okay. So, did you want to order the Scylla special, or did you want to order one of the other drinks on the menu?
We will take whatever would be best recommended as we sort of, we were talking with, what was their name again? The other elf, not Scylla, the other one, the one who we're here to see. What was their name again? Yes, we will take his recommendation on things. They're sort of like, we'll take whatever you think is best.
Ooh. Oh, okay. That's gonna be Gwynion's blend.
Okay.
So good. The honey here is amazing. You see those little bumble fuzzy things flying around, the bees? Those bees make the honey here, and they make the mead. And here, I think, pretty sure with the bees, and it is amazing. You should definitely try it.
Well, I guess that's what we'll be having then.
Alright, so Scylla gets you a glass of the Gwyn's blend. It is a honey mead blend made by Gwynin Oakenlock. You met Atlin Oakenlock, that is his wife. So she pours you a glass and shimmies it over to you. It's like, enjoy.
Alright. As Swiftwish sort of grabs a hold of it, they sort of swill it around a bit, sort of get a sort of nice breathe in, just to sort of note any distinct smells or notes that they note when they smell it. That is apparently one of the things we have seen being done with the alcohol, is you sort of swill it around and smell it for many senses.
You definitely get like this rich golden honey smell from the mead.
Well, and with a nice sort of, definitely smell the honey. Takes a sort of just lifts up back the neck. Just gets a good mouthful swig of the stuff. Not gonna chug the whole thing, but just a nice swig to sort of wash around the mouth, as it were.
Oh yeah, so as you're drinking it, you notice a washed over feeling of well-being as you're drinking this drink, and calmness. And it's just like the most relaxing, heartwarming thing that you've had to drink in a hot minute. And you gain 4 temporary hit points for drinking this drink.
Ooh, well, that is very much agreeable with us. We sort of, well, I'll tell you one thing, my friend. You certainly do know your drink. Certainly it's the spot.
Thank you.
Aye. So, since we're on the job and things, how'd you end up with your betrothed then, or your fiancé, as it were? Since they seem quite a distance away, doesn't seem like an easy thing to just fall in love that distance.
A bit to do with my job, how I ended up meeting them.
Well, you'll have to tell me some more about that then. Come on then. You seem to know a lot about me. Well, I assume you at least know me from the paper, so let's get to know a little about you then. You mentioned your job. What is it you do? Don't tell me you work in a brewery.
No, I definitely don't work in a brewery. I rarely even drink, and he starts, like, messing with his hair a little bit.
Well. Suppose this is one of those times for a celebration, huh? What and all with that with the fiancé side of things?
Oh yes, for sure. That is definitely the idea.
Gotcha on that one. So how long you been here then? You been waiting for me long, or you managed to neck those 8 in a short time?
So he kind of looks around a little bit, and he's trying to, like, gauge how long he's been here. He's not quite sure. He's looking, like, at the sun over in the the east direction, and he looks over in like the general west direction, and he's like, "It may have been for like a couple hours, something like that."
Well, let's hope you paced
Like,
yourself well.
yeah, no, I got here extra early because I get here too early, and then I got kind of bored, and I looked at the board of the quest board and saw that Scylla needed to have drinks checked. And
Well.
so I figured, okay, I don't know how long I'm going to be waiting here, so I may as well just go ahead and help her out with this since I'm already here. And I was planning on drinking anyway.
Well, what a generous soul you are, then. Hope you enjoyed yourself doing that.
Oh yeah. It's like since all these drinks were experimental, they were free.
Aye. Well, let's hope they were all good ones then and don't have any repercussions. Speaking of that, you mentioned that you got some death threats, as it were, or some threats towards yourself. What is it you've done to manage to piss off so many people, eh? Charming young lad like you.
That definitely has a lot to do with my job.
How'd you go piss them off then, eh? You working in that bureaucratic situation, or you one of them knights of royalty?
I wouldn't say knight per se.
Oh, as Swiftwish sort of his eyes perk up and things, and then sort of very quickly sort of hops off the bar stool that they're on, sort of very low sweep in a very dramatic fashions. Well, I didn't realise I was in such the great royal presence, as it were, Your Majesty.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Not it at all.
puts his hat back on and sort of jabs at him. Just messing with you.
Oh, good lord. And then, like, as his cloak shimmies to the side, you see a couple of pins on the top of his chest. One is of a silver dragonfly, and the other one is a flying squirrel.
Interesting.
And with the color and the arrangement, it looks an awful lot like a very particular group that's trained for flying maneuvers.
Is knowledge that Swiftwish would know of about these
Hopefully,
pins?
yes. This is decently well known, though you might not know exactly what they mean. You do recognize that those two do mean something in a particular military-esque regiment.
As he sort of looks over, he sort of catches a glimpse as they glimmer off some of the lighting, and he sort of recognizes it. He sort of goes, I get you. Yeah, that'll piss off some people every so often. Don't worry, I won't say a word.
Just
Your
shows the cloak back
Majesty.
over. It's like, no, don't say that. That's not even close to what that is.
Look, who you are and what you do ain't no concern of mine. As long as you're keeping your nose clean and you're not making others' lives worse for it, who am I to judge, eh? Who am I to judge? After all, I'm just someone who sits in the shadows thinking the worst of people. So, it's nice to think the better of some people sometimes. Also, eventually the voice is going to settle on something. We're not sure yet what it's going to be. It's some hodgepodge of accents we've heard over the time. But for now, this'll work. So, what time did you plan on coming out of here then? Or were you planning on drinking this place dry?
Okay, I definitely got a bit carried away. And so he's like trying really hard to think and is struggling quite a bit. And it's like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna stay the night here for sure, and you're welcome to stay here too, to stay with me. So,
Well, I appreciate the offer, but I don't know if your betrothed would be enjoying that idea very much.
Not like that.
I mean, hey, you never know with these elven folk.
Does not appreciate that statement at all whatsoever.
It's no good. Still, as I said before, I will happily accept your hospitality in this regard, especially considering how long it took to get here. So, not be too bad of a look here. DX-Man, salutations and welcome. Yes, this is Swift Wisp. We're currently in a bar talking to a very, very inebriated elven man who has requested our services. Oh, everything okay, Castleford? Oh, give us a moment here. We might have a slight issue with things. We will be right back, as it were. Give us a moment. Okay, it seems we have resolved the small issues that were troubling us at this moment. So, yes, as you were saying, you were mentioning something with regards to staying the night at the tavern.
Yes. Yes, definitely thinking of just staying the night here, so that way I don't have to try and leave like this. Ooh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you are in quite a state, my friend, and don't expect me to be carrying you anywhere.
That's fair. I wasn't going to ask.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna offer.
Hey, Stella, do you know if any rooms in the Allery are open? And she looks over at Val and just shakes her head and says, "Yes, there's a room open. I'm guessing you want to stay there." And he says, "Please."
Yeah.
So she hands him an ornate wooden key to one of the places, and she's like, "I'll collect it from your tab tomorrow morning before you leave. I know you're not gonna run out because I know exactly where you live." But it's like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. That's why I sort of look at, don't worry, I'd stop him before I let that happen. I sort of give her a cheeky wink as well.
Oh, goodness.
Come on then, you. Let's get you off to bed. As he tries to sort of push him with as much strength as he can, but it's obviously barely anything. It's a -1 to strength.
You don't need to do that. In fact, I should probably eat something before I go to my room.
At this point, you just sort of look at him and go, "You were eating on an empty stomach?"
I'm
easy.
not expecting to drink more than maybe a drink or two, okay? There wasn't a plan. I just got, enthusiastic.
Yeah, I'll say. Speaking of grub, wouldn't be bad to get some food in me gut before we do anything too spontaneous tomorrow. What's the menu like here?
Well, okay, so the back of that cocktail menu has the food here. And the acorn stew is my favorite. I also don't eat meat, so that would be most of the reason why it's my favorite. And almost on cue, one of the human servers comes by with the stew. It's like, "Here's your usual, Val." It's like, "Thank you." So he starts trying with all the focus in the world to hold on to this big old wooden spoon and not accidentally dunk it off the side of his face. He's struggling a little bit.
Well, you have fun with that. You mind if I add something to your tab, by the way?
Sure, go ahead.
Alright. So, at this point, Swiftwift sort of holds on to the menu and things, flips over to the back and starts scanning down. Oh goodness, we might have some difficulty reading that.
You want me to send you a picture?
If you could do so, that would be most marvelous. It'd also be a good test of this broad communication system. Right now, we're just sort of feeding it through the broadcast. It's kind of like dipping your finger into a stream of running water. Hopefully it's water at least. This might be fun to feel. Ooh. Well, well, if something bad happens and the whole place explodes, it's only us that suffer for it. So, hey, new experiences. Yeah, we'll be fine. Ooh, you know, saying it just aloud, it's okay, and ooh, okay, yes. Ooh, strange taste. Anyway, let's see. So as you said, there was we see the entree, acorn stew, a surprisingly hearty and filling. This vegetarian stew is sure to please even dedicated meat eaters. Packed full of root vegetables from the treetop's own garden, and only the best squirrel-selected acorns. It is a warming dish sure to fill your belly. Well,
girls here know exactly what they're doing. I've talked to all of them. They're all fantastic.
Aye. Well, yeah, I think a stew wouldn't do too bad at this point. I'll just sort of gesture over to the human waiter as they're sort of leaving and said, "You couldn't grab another one of those, could you?"
So he shakes his head and says, "Come right up, sir."
Alright then.
Heads to the back.
Yeah, as he sort of continues to scan down some of the list at some of the other things, looking at some of the bits and pieces on there, looking across at the large variety of things that are on offer here. He goes, you know, given everything with regards to the rules of this place, no harming any of the nature and the natural stuff and all that, I'm surprised they even got things like pigeon pie on here.
Okay, I kind of agree a little bit on that bit, but I know they take good care of all the animals here. Do the thing as humanly as they can. I also have questions as to why they would serve the animals too, but...
Well, you know, that's nature. Red in tooth and claw and all that. Guess at least there's some use in even after death, as macabre as that sounds. But hey, like you said, we don't gotta eat them. Someone else will. Sort of Swiffer goes, I ain't exactly go out of my way to eat it, but I ain't gonna turn it down if someone offers. But, you know, given the company and all that, as he sort of tips the hat again in a very small gesture, I think it best not to piss off my paying customer, as it were.
Oh yeah. A few minutes later, you see a rock gnome carrying your soup and brings it over and sets it onto the bar for you. And she says, enjoy your food, sir.
Aye, well, thank you. Mighty thanks at this point, as he starts to sort of, again, same idea as before. Not to the same extent with the drink, but just sort of getting a nice aroma whiff of it before picking up the spoon and then starting to... See what you mean? It's good. And then, sort of, not quickly going through the soup, but at a reasonable pace. They may have been lying about how peckish they were. They hadn't eaten much since the travel to get here, and obviously it took them longer than they planned, what with this place being inside of a tree and all that. But still, they just take in the soup at a moderate pace and things, whilst making light, small conversation about odds and ends, the day, how Val has been, as it were. That was not too bad of a meal there, my friend. Very enjoyable.
Oh yeah, I get it pretty much every single time I come here. It's great.
Aye, that it is. By the way, what room did you say we were staying in again? The atrium, was it?
I said, like, I asked her about the Owlery, but here, let me look at the room do I specifically have this time. He
picks up the key that he's holding. He can tell by looking at which key as to which room goes to which place. That doesn't tell you like how frequently he hangs out this place. Like you said, he's really away from here. And he's a little cross-eyed for a second. It's like, okay, yeah, that's. I think that's the Boreal Owl room. Yeah, that's the Boreal Owl room.
Well, we'll find out when we get there if the key works, eh? Sounds like that sounds like something. How's your head doing, by the way, now that you've had some food in you?
Better. Definitely better.
He sort of casually holds up 3 fingers. How many fingers am I holding up?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, not that much better then, as he sort of pats him lightly on the back and things before hopping further down and things. So, are you getting a nightcap then, or should I not be persuading you to drink any more?
Oh.
And by nightcap, I mean water.
I was about to say, you need to be a lot more specific than that, because that means something else.
Yeah, I know. Don't get me wrong. I know. But I'm looking out for you at this point. I hope you realise I'm not charging extra for this. This is just out of the goodness of my heart.
Ooh.
Still, you're the one who knows this place. I can't exactly go wandering around lest I break one of them rules, so... Which way is it to the room, then?
Okay. Alrighty, so... Takes him a moment to stand up from the bar.
Steady.
Let's see. Unfortunately, to the actual rooms themselves, they didn't make the map for the Twisted Taverns to actually put into here.
That's fine. I'm sure with your lavish descriptions and such, we can easily all imagine such a thing.
Well, I can at least move our tokens to the general direction of where we're going.
Very
so basically, he stumbles along the bar here. Starts headed into this archway direction. He beckons you to come along with.
And I very astutely follow. Not too close behind, lest he fall over, but close enough that there's no worry. Sort of a good foot or so of distance between us, so I can dart out of the way if I need to. I'm not about to become a landing mat.
That's completely fair. Okay, so he heads into this general direction, off to the right, this little pathway, and it goes a set of stairs. And upon those stairs, you see that there is this big open area, and there are 5 doors in the area. So, the first thing you notice as you're walking up the walkway is that there is a platform that leads directly from the ground to this area. So, if somebody wanted to just go directly to these rooms and not go into the main bar area, they could. And then... Here, let me try it.
Let us see what this results in. As we're walking along and things, sort of Swift mentioned, so, you recognize the room just by the key. You stay here often then?
I guess it depends on what often.
Well,
kind of
you're familiar with the Well, you're familiar enough with the place, but you said you weren't much of a drinker. Kind of odd.
I'm not.
An hour away from home, but you're not a drinker, but you stay here anyway? Stay here late often then? Sort of, it's a bit prying, but it's not like, it's not like in a, I think you're lying way. It's just a bit, something's a bit, there's something there that's not quite been said. He's just wondering if he can pry a little bit into it. Just a teeny tiny bit.
So I think I'm gonna have you roll for that one.
Oh, we get to roll a dice. What exactly would it be that we would be rolling then?
Let's see. I think that would be probably persuasion.
Persuasion. Okay. Oh, skill check time. Yes, indeed, DX. Well, let's see. What that is a 1d20 plus modifier, correct?
Yes.
Okay, roll 1d20 then, and our charisma is at a 0, so no modifier there. We rolled a 19.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, now we get to see exactly what that means. What does a 19 mean in that situation? Ooh, you rolled an 18. Is that good or bad? Those are some very high rolls.
No, you definitely do a little bit better than he does because he's drunk off his ass.
Fair enough. As it stands as well, DX-Man, we are currently using Roll20 as it is the easiest interface for me to be able to integrate with, for lack of better wording, on quite how we do these streams. Oh, goodness. So we have accidentally let our mind wander a touch there. Yes. Everything's good.
So, basically, the unfortunate fact that he's not too keen on admitting is that he's in a pretty sorry state at the moment. Not so much that there's anything wrong per se, just that hasn't actually seen his fiancée in quite some time. And it's kind of starting to get to him.
He
doesn't really want to get into the details of why or what he's doing.
So first just sort of like, well, apologies or prying and such, but you can never be too careful on some of these things. But well, that's what we're here to fix, innit? That's what we're here to fix. So come on then. Let's get you into bed. Good night's sleep. We got a long day ahead of us tomorrow. Assuming this will just all be done in one day.
Ideally, yes.
Well then, bright and early start for you, I reckon. Bright and early. Of course, I do go to ask, what were you planning for sleeping arrangements then? These rooms more than one bed? Because I ain't sleeping on the floor, I'll tell you that for free.
So it takes him a moment to think about that. And he opens the door to the room. And inside the room, it's very nice. It's got like a double-sized bed, big mattress, fluffy blankets, all the like. And it's got like towels and other like amenities that you would expect at a nice hotel. But there isn't really much for another bed. And so he
kind of thinks for a moment and considers that, maybe I should have asked for like an extra cot or something.
At this point, Swiftly just
He's
goes,
not thinking too
no
great.
worries. You ain't exactly in a thinking mood anyway, are you? Toss me one of them pillows. And he sort of tosses one of the pillows, and then he sort of opens, goes towards like a chest of drawers, sort of opens one of them out as far as it will go, and sort of gives it a wiggle like, is that, yeah, I'll do, and things. And sort of tries and sort of checks on the size, stuffs the pillow at one end, and then just sort of kicks his leg over the edge of them, and sort of hangs out in one of those. I'm used to sleeping in not the best of conditions. Honestly, this ain't exactly half bad. At least there's a roof over me head. Plus, the person I'm sleeping next to ain't gonna try and shank me in my sleep. Right?
What?
Sort of.
Just
it's
has
a long...
a slight moment of clarity and bewilderment at the sound of that.
it's a long story. I'll tell you when you can remember it,
Okay. So he kind of flops over.
Yeah. He just sort of flops over. Swift sort of looks at him going, yeah, you sleep now. As he sort of then just kicks back, drops the hat over his face slightly to cover his eyes, and tries to get some shut-eye in the bottom drawer of a chest of drawers till morning arrives. At which point we have a question. Would this be considered a short or long rest? Because we do have those 4 temporary hit points. And those temporary... We did read a little on some of these rules of tabletop games. We're not sure exactly how temporary hit points last, or if they would not last.
Go ahead and say that those are gonna last.
Well, very grateful.
Yeah, no, it's like...
If that is what you wish to say, then that is what you wish to say. One could imagine that they'll last as long as it's in the digestive system. So, as a biologist, of course, you are very much aware how long it takes for liquids to be processed through the digestive system of a person. So, by all means, do let us know how long we should last them for. DX man, so don't go to the washroom.
I mean, there is a washroom if you need to go into that case.
That may happen at some point in the night, though whether or not the details of that need to be divulged probably don't need to be done. But that said, they do sort of wake up earlier than Val, just because obviously Val is completely out of it, and B, also they're used to sort of early wake ups because the job needed it, and sort of just sits back in the room, freshens themselves up as much as they can and things without being too loud. As well, is Val a snorer or not?
Not really. Although there is a bit of talking.
We try to just sort of ignore a little bit of that. It's quite quaint seeing it, but at the same time they're not gonna like worry too much about it or try and listen into it. Given everything there. But as they do see, is there a window at all in the room?
There are windows in the rooms.
Okay. We're going to be slightly evil and ask that we just sort of sit on a chair and look out there as sort of day breaks and crests over. If you would like to paint that picture, by all means, do so.
So outside the window, you just see this great expanse of the forest below you. When they call it the Treetop Tavern, they definitely mean it. It is on the top of a gigantic tree, and the forest is fairly large, surprisingly so. Like, you can definitely tell for a fact that the creatures here didn't just make this tavern out of the blue. They made it with the express intent of like being the center of this forest. And they're probably just as much guardians of the forest as they are like the individuals who actually work at this place. It is a very
nice.
serene sight.
Very nice, and this is I'm sure, very beautiful sight as the sun crests over in the east, as we're now decided that this room window is facing. A very beautiful scene, as we sort of just take a moment to take it all in. Obviously, a lot of Swift's life has been very much in the shadow and out of that and dark and grimy, so it's nice to be able to have just a moment where, yeah, this is nice. This is a nice moment. Before a muttering from Val of some description that was nondescript, kind of just, oh yeah, Val. As they sort of go over to gently nudge him to mention that maybe we should get a start on the day.
What?
Oh.
He lurches up suddenly with you touching him. He's not used to that.
Springs back quite quickly. Whoa, it's alright, it's me. The person you hired. Not.
Yep, I remember now.
Okay.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, that could have gone south in a moment, but how's your head?
Better.
Oh, well, glad to hear that. As
Thanks,
Swift
Val.
sort of cricks their neck slightly and shudders off, said, it was about daybreak and things. Thought we might want to get a start on things, lest you spend all day sleeping.
So he rubs his eyes a little bit. I wouldn't call what he was doing sleep exactly, since he is a wood elf.
Mm-hmm.
Although alcohol definitely makes the experience of that meditative state that elves go into very interesting. Probably the closest thing to dreaming that he gets.
Oh, interesting. Hallucinations.
No. What?
We were under the impression that is what dreaming was hallucinations from an unconscious state.
Oh my goodness.
Well, fair enough. As we sort of make our way out to the door and things, and obviously having seen the route there on the way back, we have a rough idea where we're heading to head on back out front and things. So I'm gonna grab some grub, freshen up if we need to. I'll meet you out in the bar.
Okay.
Yeah. As they walk on back up to the bar in the early morning and things, they were looking back over at the menu and things. They had an interesting idea with some of the appetizers, those leek and onion pancakes. As they walked along and things, definitely had been sounding more and more appealing as they got there and things. So they sort of meander into the bar and things, looking around and such, and go to order the leek and onion pancakes, mentioning to put it on Val's tab, as it were. Stressing that part very particularly.
Yes. Val wanders off to the corners of the bar and is looking at the quest board. He's quizzically looking at it. He's like,
Yeah. I sort of lean back over and things, just keep a tab on him, wondering quite what he's looking at and things. You all good there? You all, Val? You,
"Just
ready?
I'm just looking at this note real quick.
Anything interesting on the board then?
There's a few interesting things.
Fair enough. Well, you let me know when we're heading off and where we're heading off to and things. I've got my pancakes here to finish. They're good. Yes. With that said, we are also as well quickly going to take a small moment of a break in things. We have just something we've got to try and work out. We will take a moment to do that, so we'll be right back. Yes, apologies about that small disruption. Once again, we are both new to this system and such, so trying to make sure that some of the kinks are worked out is, well, not always the easiest thing to do. As we mentioned before, this universe has a fun way of making causality and coincidence seem like one and the same. But with that said, yes, we are once again back and things. And what exactly was it that Val was looking at on the board?
He was looking at one of the notices on the help wanted board. And this notice says, "Are you tall with nimble fingers and a brave heart? See a stable master for a job."
Sort of as Swiftwick finishes and things, sort of sets his stuff aside and things and walks on over, looking at the paper in the hand of Val at that point. He goes, "So, I thought you was here as a drinking experience then, buddy."
Yes, I'm just kind of intrigued by this particular notice here.
Huh? Sort of gestures to have a look at the paper and things. He goes, "Well, I can fit all of those except the tool part, unless you want me to sit on your shoulders."
I don't know. I suppose we can go ahead and ask him about that.
And I sort of turned around and said, "Well, like I said, you hired me. Admittedly not working out the price, but you hired me, so where you go, I will follow. At least to make sure nothing dubious happens. Till we get to your betrothed."
So
Though I should warn you, detours are going to eat into your time, and I work by the hour.
fair enough. Alright, so he starts headed over to the entranceway to the tavern.
Yeah.
And back down onto the platform that leads to the stables.
Alright then. Well, Swiftwick follows and things, sort of making sure they've grabbed all their stuff from the table and such, not left anything too incriminating behind of their existence, but yeah, just sort of following along. Definitely making sure not to touch the golden acorn that's the size of an apple. That was never once touched. That is most important to know. But yeah, that's as they sort of sit down on things. More just a case of taking in the scenery around where they are than anything else here.
So you two head down to the stables once more, and you see there's a few horses there, and they're, just chilling. Doesn't seem like anybody new has come in or anybody has left yet, since you're both up as early as you are. And you see a forest gnome getting some hay for the horses that are there to get their breakfast. And Val walks up to him with a notice in hand and said, "Hello, Nomus. I hear you need to find somebody who's tall and brave of heart. What on earth are you asking about?" And so So Nomus explains that as part of his stable duties, he works with the mounts on the ground as well as the mounts that fly around. And one of the things that he wants to try and do is breed his own strain of hippogriffs. And he notices that there's a wild one above where the flying mounts are kept. And he is asking if we can get that egg for him.
Okay, buddy. You want us to go in, traumatize parenting griffins for an egg that you can then raise? Because you want to raise your own? Well,
He's like, I'm not exactly built to get it myself.
Well, you certainly should have changed that. I think brave of heart should have been stupid of mind at that point. You'd have to be offering a hell of a lot for that.
It's like, I could give you 50 gold for an egg that is in one piece. Don't hand me a broken egg and say that that's good. That does not work.
Well, maybe if you need to make an omelette it is, but... yeah, if you want to raise it, it won't be any good in that. I understand you there. But, I mean... you sure that's really what you need? Like... Plus, as well, like... Griffins? Really? I may not know much about them myself, but nothing good can come of a creature that's quick on the ground and in the sky.
You see that I see is pretty good and worth investing in.
Well, Val, what piqued your interest in this then? Just curiosity, or how brave of heart you been feeling, eh?
Brave of heart, so much as it is a desire to help Nomus get this egg without the hippogriffs being harmed.
Aye, that certainly would be the best option. You will be the death of me, I swear. 50-50 on the split of the job. Deal? As he turns to Val when he's saying that.
Deal.
Well, Val, as the one who hired me, it's up to you. You lead, I follow.
Novus, where exactly did this hippogriff lay the egg? And so Novus explains that it is on the very top of this tavern. Like, above the rookery where the flying mounts are, it's above that.
How the hell did you find out about that in the first place?
I saw the mother flying around, gathering nesting materials. You know how birds are when they nest and things. I'm pretty sure there's an egg in there now. I can't exactly see it fully, but I'm pretty sure it's there.
Yeah. Well,
but I can't get to it from that spot.
Yeah, no wonder. Well... Why'd I let you talk me into this? Alright, fine. We will endeavour to find out. But I'll tell you now, if there ain't an egg, I'm wanting it. I will be wanting payment for that information. It ain't exactly easy climbing up all that, and as you said, you may not be built for it. I'm not exactly built for it either.
Go back up on the lift to go to the main bar area. And then Val's trying to remember. It's like, okay, so how the hell did I get to the rookery from here? Because he's never had a flying mount before and has had no reason to go in there.
Well, fair enough. So much for knowing this place well, eh? Some use you are. At that point, I sort of take the note that's from that he had on him, and he sort of gestured to one of the bar staff by and sort of like, you know, hey, rookery, you need to get up there, and something about an egg and whatnot and things to see if we can ask them where to go.
Yeah, so thankfully Nomus actually told us that where the rookery is. So it's like, oh yeah, you just go through the main bar area, and instead of making the right to go there, you take that left spot to go left.
To the left.
So it's a little awkward how he explains it. It's like, you know how you get to the rooms, you literally just, instead of going right down that path, you go up the left one. Not the one with the actual stairs. Unless you want to go see the reference next directly.
Yes, we see the ones that you're on about there, yes. Oh, well, fair enough then. Lead the way, your majesty. He does that in a very sort of...
Don't call me
that. Well, you will hire your royal guard. Say, does that mean I get to put royal guard down on my work experience forms now?
Oh, that's not what I am.
Yeah, fair enough then, fair enough. As we let
So
Val
you
lead
went
the
back
way.
over in that general direction, but instead of turning up this right path to go to the rooms, you go left. And it's a very twisted looking area where the rookery is. And you see a few like tamed hippogriffs and a pegasus and a couple other flying mounts that are just casually hanging out there. They're already eating their hay for the morning. Or various food items that they eat.
Yeah. So this is sort of the first major time Swift's been around such a sort of group of creatures. Like, knowing about them is very different to physically seeing them. So a bit tentative, obviously. Sharp claws, sharp beaks, massive wingspans. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, so just sort of tries to not get their hand bitten off, as it were. Sort of walking through.
Val looks at you with a raised eyebrow and asks, "Are you afraid of animals there?"
I'm not afraid of animals, it's just humans are predictable, and they yell and they're angry, and you can kind of gauge a feel as to what they're gonna do. Animals are dangerous at both ends, crafty in the middle, and also as well, don't tell you when they're pissed off, they just bite your face.
That's not true. They tell me when they're about to bite my face.
Oh, great. We have a great animal whisperer amongst us.
I mean, yeah.
Well, look, you do you, buddy, but if I'm gonna fly, I'd rather it be by my own two hands. Still.
Look at this.
You're a madman, you know that. First you actually do the job you're doing, now you want to go and try and get a goddamn hippogriff egg. I hope you do know when they're ready to bite your face off. And if they are, you better tell me. Given the situation we're in.
So, you can see a very old, like, staircase ladder thing. It's very steep. If these were supposed to be steps, they've clearly have been neglected and in disrepair, and have elongated as the tree has grown over the past several hundred, maybe even 1,000 years. So you realize that that's probably the best way to get to this area where this griffin is. You can just barely, like, see the edge of the nest above where all the flying animals are. As you're, like, kind of looking. And it's like, I think that's what he was talking about.
Yeah. Maybe it was.
You good?
Yeah, step for you ain't exactly a step for me. I'm basically doing high knees each one of these. And no, I do not need you to carry me up the stairs. But yeah, that looks like a nest. So, next question. How are we supposed to tell if there's an egg in there? Or more importantly, a nesting hippogriff?
Alright, well this is definitely the part where we should probably try and, like, roll to see if we can tell if it's there or not.
Okay, what would you have me roll?
Let's see. I would say we'll both roll perception.
Perception it is. That is a +4 for us, so that is 1d20 plus 4, we believe. Roll 1d20 plus 4 is 6.
Oh no.
We rolled a 2!
Lord, okay, so I could tell that the hippogriff isn't up there right now. I can't hear it, I can't smell it, I can't, there's no sign that the hippogriff is there. It's early morning, the hippogriff is probably also out getting food for their potential baby. So,
we have absolutely no idea. We just sort of squinting and looking, but trying to catch our breath. So it's yeah, that is a pile of twigs. There is no discernible concept of what is or isn't a pile of twigs. At the very best, we know that there's the leaves, you can see through the leaves, and then there's a bit where you can't see through the leaves, and then there's just another bit where you can see through the leaves, so that would probably imagine there is something there. Putting 2 and 2 together, it's a nest, but what's in there?
It's do you need help getting up here?
I will get up there myself, fine. Just tell me, is the birdie bird home?
The birdie bird is not home currently. She must be out getting food, just pretty much everybody else is at the moment.
Great. So, don't suppose you can see an egg up there at all, or just know that there's not anything kicking about there?
So, he can't see the egg specifically, but he can tell that there is something in the nest. It's all covered in feathers and scraps of clothes and a few animal skins. Clearly this nest is currently being used and it is currently protecting something. As far as you can tell, it is not a baby hippogriff because nothing is actively moving around.
Great.
So you're presuming that it is a still comfortable egg.
Well, fantastic. That'll do. Now, next question. Obviously, we're going for the egg.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing in terms of getting in and or out of there? Because, well, as I'm sure you can see, that piece of paper asks for someone tall, nimble-fingered, and bold of heart. I can match 1.5 to 2 of those, so, like I said, the only way I match tall is if I'm standing on your shoulders.
If that's what we need to do to get the egg out, then by all means.
Alright, fine.
But we're definitely gonna have to get up the rest of these stairs and then
Yeah, alright, fine.
sneak our way over to the nest in case Mama Bird comes back.
Well, thankfully, sneaking is one of my specialties, so I should be fine in that regard.
Okay.
Just these steps first.
Do you need some assistance climbing the
I
stairs?
will make it up these steps just fine. There ain't a set of stairs I can't scale just yet. I will make it up there. As they sort of very begrudgingly start sort of very much lifting. It is like you said, because these steps are so far forward, it's less sort of putting one foot up to the other. It's sort of hiking the knee almost 90 degrees up and then sort of leaning one side over to sort of push yourself up, almost like the second half of a lunge, like coming up these steps. So it's less a graceful look and sort of a very wide stance, sort of waddle backwards and forwards between these two steps, but they make it up the steps. Not gracefully, but they make it up the steps.
So you You and Val are crouching still by the stairs. You can see the nest a little better at this angle. And you can definitely see the top of the egg just poking out. It's a very beautiful pearlescent egg, about the size of a basketball. So
Well,
it's not too cumbersome to carry around, but it is still large for an egg.
this is better
Like,
be
you don't
worth those
see
50
any sign of the
pieces.
hippogriff just yet, but
Okay.
it took you a hot minute to get up the stairs, so I don't know exactly how long it'll take before Mama Birdie comes back.
Well, there it is. I'm just going to get it. Since you're decent enough at recognizing these befeathered fuckers, I'll go in, grab it. If you see any sign of another bird coming back, just scream something at me, okay? I'll get the hint.
Oh, okay.
Okay. As they sort of clamber their way over the side of this. You said it's like this sort of twig
Are you going to
nest
be
and
sneaky
things.
for this?
Oh, most certainly sneaky for this.
Alrighty, I'll need you to roll the sneaky then.
The sneaky being the stealth.
Yes. Sneaky
Okay.
definitely being stealth.
Roll 1d20 plus 8. This is our expertise, please. That is a 21 total. Rolling a 13.
Alrighty. You are very good at sneaking.
Yes. Sort of very, very carefully, sort of leaning over, not trying to poke their head out. They sort of, we assume with the nest, it's sort of almost like a bowl-shaped style thing where it's got sort of the edge. They sort of climb over and almost roll over that, and then sort of very carefully land onto the twigs. And Val's kind of impressed. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say Val's impressed. Like, he can see movement, but there's like no sound of like twigs breaking or anything. You get like the occasional rustle with the wind, but that's about it, as they sort of carefully get their way over to this egg and sort of start brushing away some of these twigs, feathers, and picking up the occasional squirrel skin and sort of flinging that over to the side to reveal this egg that seems in good condition from what we know. Is a fucking egg. I don't know what it is. It's an egg.
Yes, so what are you going to do next?
It's an egg, alright! And, I guess we're gonna have to start sort of very carefully and precautiously trying to sort of maneuver this egg out of the position it's in and, sort of bring it back over to where we were.
Yes, as you start rolling the egg, you hear a semi-panic caw come over from Val, and sure enough, at the side of the rookery, the hippogriff has landed and is holding on to a couple of more small animals. I'm not sure what they are anymore because they are very much no longer alive and torn slightly asunder. It's like, oh shit. So Val ducks and it's like, oh shit. Okay, maybe we can see him. Oh no.
I saw very hard. Could have done that any fucking sooner.
Hippogriffs are flying flyers, what can I say?
Yeah, fucking thanks. Okay.
So the first thing is just popped and he just says,
Any
like,
tips?
quietly, like, hide.
Okay. We're gonna try and, under those mounds of, some of those bits and pieces, they sort of grab a couple of, like, sort of looser branches and things that were from the tree and sort of hurriedly sort of cobble those together, sort of put the egg on the top and sort of underneath them, so they're sort of holding this egg with the bushes and these animal furs around them, like against the edge of this nest and such, to try and sort of. Okay, how good is that smell? Pow.
The smell's fine. So the hippogriff walks over to the nest, and she goes into the nest and just sort of settles in on her egg, the way you would expect a chicken to keep it warm. And she starts eating her food, is just tearing apart what appears to maybe be a weasel. You can't quite tell.
Great. Fuck, this is foul and fucking heavy.
So Val immediately is trying to think of a way to get this hippogriff out of her nest again. Ideally, without starting a fight, because obviously you getting crushed is kind of a concern.
Any day now. Please.
And so his immediate idea is to do, like, to mimic an animal call and see if that maybe persuades her to start looking around. So he's gonna try and go for that.
Okay. Let's
So
see how
I think that
this
would be deception, which is not his strong suit, unfortunately.
Oh boy. Not animal handling to be able to mimic a cry?
If I'm working directly with the animal, then it's animal handling, but I'm trying to convince the animal that I am also an animal.
Interesting. Oh, thank goodness.
Okay.
That's a 19.
Yep, that'll do it. So he successfully, like, shimmies over away and does kind of like this, like, squaw noise to try and get the birdie to look over. It's like caw or whatever noises the hippogriff makes. It's like caw, squee. He's like, shit. And so he shimmies back over while she looks around, and she stands up again and starts looking in the general direction of the noise. So if you're gonna move, now's the time to move.
Yeah, now is that sort of, at this point, the egg is secondary, like, it's get over the nest, and then if possible, sort of reach back over and sort of pull it back out, but it's very much a case of get out from under, out of the nest, because worst comes to worst. Hey, there's an egg up there! Good for, in that regard, but, we're gonna very much sort of just try and, reach, sort of brush aside a little bit, and you could see, after the hippogriff sort of comes up from roosting, sort of brush a little bit aside as you see them look over and sort of stand the other way, and it's like, oh, thank fuck. As they sort of, very carefully sort of back themselves over and try and, like, hoist themselves out of the nest to then sort of get their legs back out.
Go ahead and roll for stealth again.
Roll for stealth again. Okay, that's a roll 1d20 plus 8. Oh, please be good. That's an 11! Oh no! That was a 3 plus 8.
So there's a little bit of twig breaking as you're holding on to the side and going over. She looks up a bit, but you're over the nest by the time she turns her head around. So she doesn't realize you're there, but she's a little suspicious.
Jesus fuck.
Are you gonna go for the egg?
At this point, I'm just sort of trying to look around, check, see where Val is, because I knew where Val was, and Val's suddenly gone, and I'm like, fuck, I just never fucking bastard, Val!
Here. And so you can see, like, a little bit of ways the opposite of where the stairs you climbed were, is where he's sort of hiding in, like, the tree branches. Very good at hiding amongst trees, so he does the thing pretty good.
Oh, you fuck.
It's like, come on, just try and grab the egg, and then we can get the heck out of here.
Yeah, lose my fucking hand in the process. What? You want to grab it? You're fucking welcome to do so.
Like, you're literally right there, though. Come on, Pan.
And so is she. I swear, if I lose an arm for this, you are paying for it.
Okay, cool.
Fine. Sort of very, very tentatively, with again a little bit of twig sort of covering a bit of their hat, sort of peek ever so slightly through, like, the tiniest little sliver of the top of the nest. Like you said, the egg is just right there, just trying to get a gauge on is she looking directly in front of us, or where she is at this point?
She's not looking in your direction right now.
Very tentatively, just gonna lean over, try and grab the damn egg.
Go ahead and roll sleight of hand.
Oh boy, sleight of hand. That's a +4. So /roll 1d20 +4. That is a 17 for a total of 21.
Okay, so you successfully scoop the egg and lift it up and keep a good hold on it without like sliding or dropping or breaking more twigs. So you've got the egg and she hasn't noticed yet.
Okay, at this point, I'm once again gonna slink back down under the side of the nest and just sort of gesture like, and now it's very much a case of like, because it's very sort of cumbersome. You say it's like the size of a basketball. That's about, 2/3 of my upper torso. So I'm just sort of there looking this thing like, so sort of gesturing like, I'm gonna need some help here.
Okay, so Val kind of sneaks a little closer to you and starts gesturing you to come like closer to where those stairs were.
Yeah, great. Okay, sure. I'll just do
pass
that.
To me and I can take it.
Yeah, you do that. Worst comes to us, I just roll down the fucking stairs. Alright. Do not, for the love of all that is fucking holy, drop it.
Okay, she has not noticed that we're doing this.
Oh, thank God. I thought that was a roll for Val.
No, that's a roll for the hippogriff.
Holy fuck.
Yes, but she is kind of sort of like casually turning around back towards her nest, so we don't have much time to leave here before she realizes her egg's gone.
Yeah. Like, Swiftest have just his movement, as far as they're concerned. That's already a problem, so just sort of he's trying to match, like, when they're moving, like, when they hear the shift and things, they're sort of very huddly going, sort of very scurriedly, almost crawling whilst rolling this on their knees, like, gently rolling it along to try and get closer and closer to Val, to meet back up. It's like, fucking take this egg! You fucking take it!
Okay, so Val takes the egg from you, so you don't have as much issue. He's got his cloak up, he's holding onto it. It's like, okay, let's go down these stairs, and still starts shimmying down the stairs.
Okay.
She still hasn't noticed us, so.
Okay, just fucking hurry. I'm the one in the fucking firing line from her.
Okay, so Val makes it down to the rookery. I don't know how long it's going to take for you to get down the stairs. But then you hear...
It's sort of going down backwards, sort of holding the step above, and then just sort of like hopping backwards, holding the other step to sort of stabilize so I don't fly down like 4 steps at once. It's sort of...
Oh, I can't.
Sort of gentle plod.
Once you're at the bottom of the steps, back in the rookery area,
it's just immediately collapse against the
loud,
side of the
scream-like noise. She went back to her nest, and she noticed her egg is gone, so now she's frantically looking around for it. So Val's gonna go into the actual bar area. He's gonna lay low in there for a bit, for a little bit.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just gonna, hearing the screech, and they just go, and just sort of slump against, like, a post in the rookery, like, it's just, if there's, like, one of the griffins over, or, like, opposite to them and things, obviously hearing the sound, like, looking around, like, look, I had nothing to do with it. That is not my doing. Before sort of trying to recompose themselves, muttering, why the fuck did I take this? This is better be fucking worth it. Before hurrying back into the bar to keep an eye on Val.
Oh my goodness. So, Val is still holding onto the egg. Like, and it's all wrapped up in his cloak. He's holding
I
it to
fucking
him.
hope so.
Didn't squish it by accident.
I fucking hope so. You, sir, are a fucking madman. And I am charging you double. What the fuck?
That's right.
What's that?
Val's hippogriff.
Okay. Well, I'm putting that off my fucking bucket list. I'm putting it on my fucking bucket list as well. How long do you reckon we gotta give it before they stop, well, they stop getting pissed at us? If they were to see us with an egg.
I mean, I had every intent of keeping this egg wrapped up before giving this to Novus. I don't want her finding out that we're holding on to it.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. I'll agree with you. Oh, this is just sort of once again I am getting a drink. I will take a very strong drink. If nothing else but a toast for a job well done.
Oh, yeah, so you both decide to sit down in the tavern for a bit to wait for the hippogriff to calm down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, as insane as you are, you can at least... you're at least a good lookout. Though, I will say, a little bit sooner next time. As they sort of raise a toast to the job well done. The question is, what did we drink? Because all Swift Wisp said was something strong. And probably not one of the honey, the honey mead, because we already had that, and that was, that was a nice one. But I would assume that Val would want to show off another one of the drinks. So Val, what have you ordered?
Zilla suggests ordering her special.
Well, I won't say no to that.
Go ahead and roll 4d6s.
Roll 4d6. Okay. Okay. That is a total of 16.
Okay, so your drink contains juniper spirit, lemon juice, orange juice, and peel, along with an alcoholic base.
Not bad, Silla. You'll have to give me the recipe before I leave on that one.
Let's see.
What does Val get?
What is Val going to get indeed? Let's see.
Another 46. An 11.
Okay, so Val's drink contains moonshine, lemon juice, orange juice, and a mint sprig.
Ooh.
He's getting something a little bit stronger, which makes sense, because it takes a lot to get an elf drunk.
Yeah. Only 8 experimental drinks. Oh, every so often, of course, like Swift Wisp just peeking out of the windows. Just less looking at the scenery and more just at the sky this time. Still, I hope your stableman knows what the hell he's doing with this.
Well, I know that he's going to take care of this egg for sure.
Yeah. No question. Why is he offering to raise an egg like this? Surely there must be some fine male hippogriffs and fine female hippogriffs up in that rookery. Want to just breed those?
Do you want to breed wild hippogriffs?
Alright,
This is
good
a
point.
wild animal's egg.
Alright, fair point. Yeah, fair point. Still, you want to raise a wild animal at this point?
I mean, that's what he wants to do.
Well, his funeral. I look forward to reading about that one in the obituaries.
Okay, so after about an hour, you two decide that it's probably safe to go back down to the stables. Noma said to meet him back there once you had the egg.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. You probably don't want to hang out at the scene of the crime.
Yeah, Swiftwift's not one for doing that.
So yeah, we both head onto the platform, be able to go back down towards the stable area, and let's see.
That is where old Nolsey is.
Okay, she is not flying around the area of the tavern at the moment.
Okay. Dare I ask what role would have meant she was?
Oh, literally anything above a 10.
Oh! Oh, good.
Yeah, no, I was making it like a 50-50% chance. It's like, oh, she's still controlling it, or she went somewhere else. So yeah,
This
so
is very
you go
nerve-
down without incident, and you meet Nomus there, and he said, "Ah, thank you." It's like, how is that old bird? Is she doing okay? I was like, yes, she's doing fine. You're probably gonna see her later.
She's pissed. Yeah, so as Val sort of very gently, oh yeah, she's fine, she's doing all that. She's pissed. She's very pissed.
Nomus laughs at the sound of that. He's happy to hear that she wasn't hurt in the process. He's like, yeah, well, she can trust me with her egg. I'll make sure that I keep this little bird in good condition. Thank you very much. And so he gives 50 gold between the two of you.
Oh, fantastic.
And that is a job well done.
That it is. The sort of, yeah. Once again, sort of returning to Val, like, Val, you are still fucking insane. And that wasn't even on your list of shit we gotta do. This wasn't even one of the things you wanted to hire me for. But hey, I did say it'd cost you extra, and 25 gold pieces will be costing you extra. So, I'll consider that even. Though next time, you are the one who's going into the rook's nest.
Fair. Alright.
So, where on your tavern list did you want to head first, eh?
Well, first I need to get my things out of the gallery.
Yeah, true.
So he heads back onto the lift. It's like, do you need to get any of your stuff in the room?
Nah, I travel light. Don't take much more than I can keep on hand at any one time.
Okay. So yeah. Val heads back upstairs on the lift.
Yeah.
And you stay by the stables.
Yeah, let's have some small talk just regards to why you want a hippogriff in the first place, like that kind of stuff. Just general small talk, mostly inquiring as to A, why would you want a hippogriff, and B, how the hell are you supposed to raise a hippogriff? Because now with first-hand experience, they are, well, about 3 times my size, so admittedly, there's a little bias there in terms of the danger, but that said, they're not exactly any easier if you're any bigger. Just trying to wait for Val. Oh, this is one of those things. Swiftwift, for all the sort of underseedy stuff that they do in investigations and all that kind of stuff, they're not particularly great with small talk. Like, they're very much a case of better at observing than anything else, and so it's a bit awkward, but at the same time, it is genuine interest in some of this. Meanwhile, Val. Ooh, a natural 20. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Okay.
What is...
It's not a bad thing. It just means a very specific person showing up.
Okay.
So, as you're waiting by the stables for Val to come back, you see a small carriage pulled by 2 horses show up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very nice looking carriage. And the horses are very, like, large thoroughbred horses. And it's not a formal sort of setup, but they definitely look like they are very well taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And in this carriage, out pops a tiefling.
Oh.
So this tiefling has short white hair and like the infernal look of a tiefling, so like the horns set back and red skin. And yes, she goes by many names. You've heard a few rumors about her. In fact, go ahead and roll let's see, what would that be? History? Go ahead and roll history. See if you know who she is or not.
1d20 plus 1. Nope. 3.
Nope, you've only heard like occasional rumors and stuff about this person. Like,
even then, they're all
you know that
conflicting.
she's noteworthy, but you don't know why. But
So,
she is a very, well, they are a very charismatic individual who carries a very interesting looking staff and is very well dressed and very like talkative and is speaking to a human who's traveling with them. So they set their horses to stay with Nolmus, and so he goes ahead and detaches them from the carriage so that way they can, you know, go inside the actual stable place, while those two head up on the platform as they're talking about like whether they're gonna have like some sort of party at this tavern or not. You know, just generally talking about the entertainment. You don't hear specific details unless you want to try and listen in their conversation.
No. We won't be listening intentionally. It's just sort of with the carriage and things, it obviously catches the eye. It's definitely a very regal looking thing, and obviously with Val and things, there's a bit of like, were they someone that they might know or anything like that? And then the tiefling immediately dispelled that concept about it, and they did catch the eye and things, but Swiftwisp has had their gut instinct is knowing someone or knowing of someone isn't always a good thing, regardless of how good the things about them are. That said, they do sort of gesture to sort of Nos and things and ask like, regulars then, or?
Oh, definitely yes.
Shame
Val immediately recognizes the two of them and is kind of caught by surprise to see them here.
Shame, I guess we'd be heading on tonight. What with their talk of a party. Picked the wrong day to be heading off, it seems. Still, though, couldn't have picked a nicer tavern, I guess. Good place for it. Me too. I don't suppose you know too much about him then? I've only heard the occasional thing, and even then the stories are conflicting to say the least.
See, I've got a little bit better in history than you do. It's like, I've not spoken to them directly.
As Nas?
Like, I've only... So that's about a 12 for me, so...
Okay.
I've not really spoken that much to them directly. I'm not really the partying type per se. You know,
Fair
usually
enough.
I don't hang around or stay that many nights, and when I do, it's very rare that they're around. But they're a very, how you say, excitable individual. They love singing, they love dancing, they love celebrating things, and I don't know exactly what it is they do or why they do what they do. It seems like they just do things because they like to do things.
Well,
Like, that's
fair
just
enough.
what I've seen from just the outside without talking to them directly.
The free spirit types. Well, let's hope it works out well for as a sort of keep an eye on like things, trying to gauge where, when, if Val is ever actually going to show back up as a sort of. It's been a while. I don't want taking him so long. As I sort of ponder the idea of, do I really want to try and climb back all the way up there, just to come all the way back down? As throbbing in the calves and thighs, thinking about climbing any steps.
So not long after the Seeker goes up the platform, then Val comes back down.
Well, you certainly took your sweet time. Paid
I
off your
had to
tab
get
and
all my
everything?
stuff, man. Yes.
Well, that's good to hear. Don't suppose you know much about those two lot that just came up, do you?
Oh.
Red tiefling, staff, human, goes around in the carriage. It's pretty pristine horses and doing so.
Oh, the Seeker and the Critic? Yeah, I definitely know of them. They visit here. I don't know if is the right word to describe it. It's so random when they show up.
Well, it's unfortunate then. But unless, of
Oh,
course, you
heck,
want to
did
stay
you wanna
another
leave
day. Unless, of course, you wanted to stay another day. You lead, I follow at this point, and I'm still on the clock with you, so as long as you're paying, I'm staying. Hey, that rhymed. I've heard something about some kind of celebration. Ring any bells to you, Val? When in doubt, there's always the option to roll for it. That is the point of the random number generator. When you are unsure as to what to do, let the random number generator decide for you.
And so Val's thinking about it. He's like, I'm not sure if I want to delay my trip just because these two have shown up.
Fair enough, fair enough. You're cool. So it ain't too much of a bother to me. Just thought I'd let you know. Besides, I'm sure we'll bump into them again. Eventually.
Probably. Yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and head out.
Fair enough then. What'd you say that first name on the list was again?
Well, admittedly, that's all that I had planned for this particular session.
Well, that is totally fine and fair then. this was definitely one that we have very much enjoyed. It has been a lot of fun with that. Same time next week, perhaps?
Sure.
Well, that sounds like an absolutely wonderful idea then. And that is something that we will look forward to. Next time, we shall head off onwards to, well, who knows where we shall have to find out next time. But for now, that is going to go ahead and end things off here. Hopefully, next week we will also have another fun tavern session set on up, but we will let you know how that happens, when that happens, if that happens, and how that happens on all the places. So until next time, we have been Ultrasonic Blur, joined by the absolutely wonderful Dungeon Master Castleford. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you have enjoyed. We hope to see you next time for more. But until then, take care.